Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Okay, we are
you
live.
busted me.
That's okay. Sorry. Maybe maybe next week, your brother. We'll do something different
I
about
already
that.
learned it.
But welcome to Into the Night with Shawn Kelly. I am on 105.3 New Orleans and 107.7 Mississippi, and I hope everybody had a good week. Okay, um, I sure did. I had a great week. Um, Life seems to be getting better for me now, um, and I'm just happy. Believe it or not, it's finally took a long time for me to be happy. And what I'm really extremely happy about, okay, what I'm really extremely happy is that on our last show, Chasing Prophecy, which aired 10 minutes ago, we had our guest Daniel James, and we really started to get into the Bigfoot. And I saw that Michael had some stuff to express, and Daniel was liking what he was saying. And I was just sitting back and enjoying everybody and listening to the chat. Um, and I'll throw my few cents in. And real quick, the next show at 10, I think it's 10 o'clock or 10:10. I don't know. But Trish Mo will be on. And her show is, what is it? The Missing Piece with Trish Mo. So after our show tonight, please stick around and listen to Trish on The Missing Piece. So,
Fantastic person. You'll love her.
Daniel, welcome back. Let's continue with the Bigfoot story. Michael.
Okay, let me do this for you. I want to
Okay.
play something. Now, again, this is kind of like giving me a shot on the, but I mean,
Yeah, go for it, bro.
this is something that because the information you just shared is like the biggest thing since 40 years ago in a way, okay?
Okay.
Not a joke. So, um let me do this.
It was a day very much like this in 1971.
This is Ronald Moorhead.
When I first encountered them. I was 29 years old. I came across a footprint. It was bigger than any animal I'd ever seen. That night, we heard these sounds that were horrific. These things were so huge, and the sound was so big, you could hear them pounding. Boom, boom.
The Sierra Sound.
I first saw Bigfoot 40 years ago, and I've been looking for it ever since. They're not lore, they're not legend, they're here. They're here amongst us now.
Legendary adventurer Ron Moorhead, one of the world's foremost Bigfoot experts, has been at the center of this controversy for more than 40 years now.
I've dedicated my life to the subject. I want the world to know that these things are there and what I think they can be there for. There's got to be an answer.
In 1974, he ventured high into the Sierras, and for the first time in history, he recorded the actual sound of his voice.
That sounds familiar to you.
Yeah.
You have that. You have a recording like that.
Humans cannot
And not that clear. I have vocalizations, but I heard the speaking
have cryptolinguists who's
another night.
to translate languages. He has determined that they do, in fact, have their own language.
They speak.
That changes everything.
Cool.
Thank you for letting me
Right
play
on.
that. Now, Ron's
Thank you
gonna
for
be
showing me.
No, you're not a problem. It wasn't worth turning on the other to put it forth, but Mr. Moorhead, like I said, he calls me Michelle. I don't know. Must be some kind of joke I don't know about yet, Rondella. No, but nevertheless, Ronald, if you're out there, I have a gentleman on right now. And this is mind blowing because there could be something here that needs to bring you two gentlemen together. And facts and information and data is what I work for on every topic. I'm an expert at nothing. I'm a researcher of everything. I love what I do. And I just want everyone to know that there is a very good possibility that you have what everybody's been looking for. And it's another missing link of confirmation. Shawn, go
That's
ahead.
right.
Oh no, I'm just so excited that Daniel, decided to come over for our hour on Into the Night. I mean, it was really, really interesting what you said on Chasing Prophecy. And and then you and Michael started to go at it toward the end of the show, and I know we were going to run out of time there. And I just thought maybe, we could connect and do this hour. You know what I mean? So I'm all,
Thank you for having me.
yes. Hey, Rob, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. John, good to see you. And Tommy, of course. Tommy's been my number one fan since I started. So go ahead, share a little bit more about the Bigfoot noise, how they talk, whatever you got to do.
So, if you guys are maybe new to this show, you didn't have a chance to catch the last one. We were talking about my personal Bigfoot encounters, my Sasquatch experiences, which I've technically had two separate ones, and then one of them was where my car broke down in the mountains of Big Flats, New York. And then the other one was where we had 6 nights of direct contact with the Sasquatch species in Mount Shasta, California. And we heard them vocalizing. We had communication with knocking patterns back and forth with them. They would come up to our house and bang on the doors and bang on the garage door. And I was leaving them food out at night. And it got to the point where I was trying to determine what they like to eat, what they don't like to eat. And we had a direct sighting with them. The last night that we were in Mount Shasta, California, we had a van full of 6 people who were able to see a physical Sasquatch in the street with us, where our car was driving on the way in between these 2 Airbnbs that we had rented. But we saw full-bodied Sasquatch take multiple forms. And, Shawn and Michael, one thing I didn't have a chance to tell you guys on the last show was as I started leaving them food each night and determining different things, what they would eat, what they wouldn't eat, they started leaving me things back.
The gifting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They started leaving me things.
Hey, you know what? This is all the things that put this into the basket, makes that medley up. I've experienced parts of things, not the eye-on-eye contact, but I've had contact. We can talk about that. It's a short thing if you want to. But yeah, I did something due to the fact that somebody gave me a story. And the story was a guy was on a tractor up in Karnes City, and he lived on a higher grade of land, and a power line went down through it. As he was on his tractor, he was observing deers in the path because, power lines have the clarity, the path. A lot of hunters utilize them. And as he's going by, he catches a flash. He knows there were deers here. And the next thing, one's a deer's like picked up, retrieved. And as fast as he's comprehending it, one of them was gone. The other deers made that position of startled, where how they jumped to take off the dart. And that was right here in Pennsylvania also, because we have the 3 Ps here: Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh. We're all from Pittsburgh.
That's right.
So hello, it's a big shout out to Mary Fabian and Bill Rigby too, Pennsylvania Bigfoot, Rockstar work, and Agents of the Unexplained. Also another one of Bill's who does presentations and holds conferences and so forth. But anyway, I thought I'd give him a shout out because it's all about Pittsburgh. So that was a quick encounter I wanted to throw you. So anyway, I'm dealing with this. I'm listening to the story, and then there's another neighbor, same area. We just lost him 2 years ago. He had the story of the swaying Bigfoot. He would look out his room as a kid, not a very young kid, but probably like 12, 13. So he was starting to reach some type of maturity where, comprehending a lot of things. And all he remembered was the movement behind the tree. And even though he moved, one of the most important facts that Leonard Young shared with me was no matter how he moved, the shoulder always showed. He couldn't hide himself. So this thing was as wide as the back of a tailgate on a truck. Yes, very, very, very huge. And he remembered that. So I wanted to share those. So as I leave and I go out and I do things, some strange things happen around my property that's very close. I decided I had some things and I thought, one of the animals or something will get it. I'm not going to go over to the fire pit and throw it in. They'll be digging through it. So I went over and I laid some things down over by this stump where I was always curious about where these footsteps went one time, which I talked about on many shows with people. 2 steps turned into only 1 footprint, which then turned into no footprints. I left it there. I have a wood shop where I carve things, chainsaw carvings. I leave camp. I come back about 3 days later, and on my porch is a golf ball.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
there's not no golf course anywhere near me, and I have 80 and 90-year-old neighbors.
But you know what? If you do that for the ravens, if you become close with the ravens and you give them food, they will come back and they will drop off little trinkets to you.
Oh, I never heard that one before.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I personally never heard that one. The possibility exists. All I'm saying is coincidental or something else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, your story's great. I'm going to try to get you guys together, as I was saying. So, these types of things are paranormal in ways. We don't totally understand all the fragments, but I can tell you about Mind Speak. I've had Scott Pace on, who has intelligent conversation with Bigfoot, Sasquatch, one of the so-called names of the giant man, the hairy man. And, I learn a lot from people. People's information is what guides me to keep going forward. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a gist on what we were talking about earlier. We can return to this. I shared this with Shawn. I've had a couple experiences from the sky, and that's why I developed What's in the Skies. Because I seen what was in the skies. 2013, I'm with a very young girl, my daughter, about, 13 years old, 12, 13. And she knew I was observing the sky. She knew I had this fascination. We were out in the middle of my back field, no neighbors around, nothing. It's late, but not real late at night. Again, as I say, my neighbors' lights are always out. I can even play music. That's how far they are, loud as I want. I don't disturb them. And out of the sky, above the tree line by where I keep my garden, this beautiful emeraldish, pretty, like candy green, like the prettiest green you ever seen on a car, was just like fluttering from the sky like a sparkler. And I was like, what? Well, no. She says to me, and what the hell was that? So she's 13. I'm a dad. I was like, what did you say? And never mind. It doesn't matter because I don't know what we both just saw. And I didn't. But it was, to me, a beginning of contact in ways. I was seeing things in the skies. That occurs. And I think it's going to be it'll be the 3rd summer now to reflect back on that we're going into, where I was sitting out at my campfire there after a day, cutting grass, grooming 2 acres. I keep it meticulous as I can because that's my freedom. that's my air, that's my space, that's my getaway. That's Dad's man camp. That's the man cave. So anyway, I'm out there. I have a friend with me. They're inside um, doing dishes or something, and I'm playing with a light, and it just got to be dark. Dusk was over. Dark was setting, pretty much firmly setting in. So I'm using the light, and I'm, you know, Black and Decker spotlight. You know, we all did things like that, even if we hunted or not, to go spotting with. And I was kind of watching the pasture across the way from me, and I didn't really see anything. You know, what I was seeing was just like deer. You know, I seen some eyes, and I'm playing with the light, and suddenly I look up. I remember looking up, and really, I say this because I believe I need to do this. Be hypnotic, what they call regressed. So anyway, my point to this is, for whatever reason, I started click, 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 click. There's a mode like on, 1, 2, 3, off. You know what I mean? It's like you got to do so many clicks. So it's doing this large light, smaller light, off kind of thing. I do it several times, and I get the funniest feeling. And I don't even know what. And I look off to my, which would have been my left side, to you opposite, and I look up, and this light of enormity is over me, and it's soft. It's easy to look at. It's roundish on the bottom, like a bubble, a gentle bubble, not like something real deep. Just, just there, like if you turn the plate upside down, and the center. But the what I saw was my whole driveway was covered over by this light, which meant it had to be something magnificently big. Thinking in my head, okay, what happened to the satellite? And all these things are kind of like in my head, and it goes out, and I sit there like an idiot, and I do it again, and it lights back up,
Wow.
and then it goes out in front of my face. So I did it again, and it lights back up again. And I started then to think to myself, what did you get yourself into? Now, I know a lot of guys say, and I say it myself, if I was ever on a paranormal thing and something happened, I wouldn't run out like little girls screaming and hollering like some of these, things we see on TV. I get, and in the moment, you can be startled. And I think I was, because I didn't know what the hell to expect. So that was kind of what I saw. That was my experience. Nobody noticed me missing, but I started calling for the inside. Hey, get out here. No one's backing me up. So was I in some type of manipulation of space and time that no one was hearing me, even though they said they thought they heard something, but didn't respond to me? And I think hypnotic regression in my case is something that I need to do. That opened up a whole new can of worms as well. But through my life, I've had experiences with things. I've always seemed to be closer to a veil of another side of subject matter that always made, the things that make you go, more often than others. So that was one of them. But then I started seeing what I think was their return. I was telling my story to a neighbor that bought a house across the street, and like a little farmette kind of thing. And I told him what happened to me. I don't know, I guess it was several months before. And as I'm standing there, I go to look up, and this thing is back, but not as close, not as huge. And he turns around, whether he saw my eyes have a reflection of light in them or what, he just said to me, Mike, I had to turn around to look. He says, I knew something was there. I didn't know what. It was like in a moment he looked and he knew it was there. And as soon as he did, it went out. And I started having things like that occur to me. So when people say, just as you said, these things are real, until you live through things like this, it may not have the Barney Hill story to it or the Travis Walton story to it, but I have a story to it. I have added information and data of something that occurred to me, And I know in my heart what happened, and anybody can challenge me on it. And I say this with clarity. The only way for me to really understand any missing pieces of a puzzle, and I'm not saying I was taken. I can't say that. I can only say I would like to review it.
I believe you were taken. And I had a similar experience where I know for a fact I was taken. And when you mentioned the potentially loss of time or an experience where you knew like the reality around you was different for a minute, I can
Mhm.
corroborate and agree with you completely. I think that there are telltale signs when you have an experience like that, in the presence of a unidentified, UFO. I just call them ships at this point. You kind of know it, and getting like a regression therapy. I absolutely think that you could uncover something there.
Yeah, you know what? I reach out to people and tell them that have these any type of experience, because we have a lot of disruption in the community too.
Yeah,
Sure.
We have a lot of.
s-
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say, sad to say that I haven't got abducted yet, or I don't think I have.
That
Well,
you know of.
but you're coming. You're coming up, so you have that opportunity, or at least to witness things, which I think I have some type of portal possibly over me also, because that's another thing that I was seeing. Um, Things coming out of one
Yep.
area that they're not there, but yet
There are.
they illuminate, and then you see, and not just one, not just two, not just three. I'm talking
Mhm.
5 and 6, like scouting ships, and they're coming out of a blackness. I want to put it to you that way. And then we hear about these one light, and then we see other lights fall, and they can shoot intelligent rays to the big light. I don't know what it was. I don't know what, I really don't know, but I know there is something there that's odd. And if I use my dowsing rods, they go nuts. There's do we want to say that it's atmospheric electricity, and so yeah, possibly, I don't know.
No, there are portal systems all over the planet. We have
I
them all
agree.
over the country, United States. They're invisible. Usually you can't see them. They don't have, say, for example, a cool frame like they do in um, the movies and the TV shows like Stargate, but they're plasmatic, energetic portal systems that can actually move. But there are some portals that are attached to geographical locations. So you might be in a hot spot. Maybe there's some ley lines around there. They give
Yeah.
that sort of amplified energetic connectivity for those beings to kind of come in and out of our reality.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think it works on all levels of what we discussed when it comes to this um, unexplained phenomena. I'll put it because there's so many in ways, different entities, of course, different possibilities of dimensions and so forth, as we
That's
were
right.
discussing earlier. But I can't answer, 100%. I just know I yelled, tried to get attention,
Yep.
and I couldn't create any. And what I do remember was I actually, I think in a way I experienced an effect of fear, of uncertainty. And because I say this to everybody, and what the hell did I get myself into? That
Mhm.
was my whole mindset. Be careful what you wish for.
I feel like you had an encounter. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it happened. There's no doubt in my mind. I'll go to my grave knowing that I experienced that. But I love the work of the research and what I can add to it. And in our area up here in Pennsylvania, being that we're all from Pittsburgh, I mean, I tell people if you want to come up, come up. I had my grandson there with me one night, Anthony. He saw things. His mind was blown of how frequent things were going on. We know that there are apps for satellites. We can use them. You can count things out. You can kind of track them. You can get somewhat of ideas. There was so much the one evening he was there of objects moving. Are they ours? Are they theirs? I think in a lot of ways too, theoretically, we need to look at the truths behind things. I think our technology that we have when we see ANI and everything that's now going on, taking place, robotic this, super soldier robot that, some real fascinating things, how long drones have been out there. The possibility exists that we crash retrieval things many times into places, where these crafts go back to, and they reverse engineer them. I talk about this stuff a lot. Shawn knows that. And I don't want to eat the time. He's the host of of this particular show, but we can't take anything off the plate. There's too many people that can't be wrong.
Right. Let me ask you guys something. Have you guys ever heard of this secret space program?
Oh yeah. It's been around for 45 years.
No, I haven't. I'm all new to this stuff, man.
And the super soldier programs.
Sure.
So that's some really fascinating stuff. There's a couple channels on like Odyssey and I think Rumble that, they got silenced off of YouTube, but there's some really fascinating channels where they interview super soldiers. And I know a lot of these guys have met them through the community, where they talk about these impossibly amazing experiences.
Are you talking about the 20 and back program?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
I love that. I've researched hundreds of hours of that content, because we talked in the last program about some of my other lifetimes, my other incarnations in other places. Well, I'm not a super soldier in the super soldier program on Earth as a human, but I have worked in those programs off planet as another race.
Interesting.
And I've worked with humans from Earth as another extraterrestrial from another planet. So these super soldier programs on Earth that are owned by like the most wealthy bajillion, gajillion, infinite money companies on planet Earth, most of them have their own version of what we call the secret space program, where they're all interstellar.
Yes.
They all have the ability to travel off planet. They all know how to genetically modify humans to make them enhanced for combat and war. They know how to hybridize species, and they have the type of technology that they have for their warfare is the stuff you see in movies. It's 100 years beyond anything our civilian awareness and even our civilian military has. But this stuff exists privately.
Yes. And you hit the nail on the head. It's just not countries.
Right.
But why does every country in the world, basically, let's just say 75% of them, all have a space program?
They do.
All have a UFO element of information. And why does George Bigelow go and buy all the information from these third world countries, second world countries, where these experiences are? Like in Chile that we brought up the other night, the fascinations of people observing crafts just taking water out of lakes. Being attacked by beams. No longer do they actually abduct you. They shoot a beam down and leave marks in you. Right. We know that these are factual truths that are going on. It's mind-blowing. And I think Corey Good and David Wilcox were some of the earliest two that took a lot of flack over bringing that up, but so did Stephen Greer. When you talk about Richard Greer, what he was going through in Mount Shasta, going there, making contact, what he called SETI and so forth like that.
CE5.
When you get into these topics at the ranch, everybody goes to the ranch. They want to get out into that pasture. That is the hot spot. Right. I mean, at least one of them. But like I said, we're in Pittsburgh. I have a place close for us to go to.
We could all hang out. Listen, we probably live a half an hour apart. We can get lunch. And we'll go looking for Bigfoot.
10 minutes from you, man.
Yeah.
But my question to the both of you.
Yeah, what the hell are we talking about?
Super soldiers.
No, super soldiers. I've heard that we are aliens. Is that true?
Yes.
Well, we're hybrids. I think.
The human vessel comes from the Lyrian system, and there's 500,000 planets that have humans on them that look just like us.
There's your missing. I don't want to say it and get in trouble, but you know where I'm going. I call it abducted 911. There's your abducted 911 off planet.
So the human archetype doesn't come from Earth. We were seeded here gajillion years ago. We were brought here.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's why we exist on other planets, because the human archetype, which is just like, if you know the little green men, the Zeta Reticuli, the oval head and the black eyes.
Right.
That's our most common alien that we see in mainstream media. That's just one archetype of humanoid entities that exist in the cosmos. Well, the human archetype, what we are, is another one. And we're seated all over the galaxy.
Wow, that's deep. That that means I got to go out and start researching all
Maybe.
this stuff. I don't know, but another thing I want to bring up to you guys too, and I don't care if the SAS comes knocking at my door tomorrow. But what is your theory about people saying that Prince William or that royal family is actually reptilians?
You want to go first, Michael? You want me to go first?
Well, I'll give you points of reference of what I believe. I think we're dealing with ancient beings that have been here all along.
Yes,
I think they are within the inner earth.
that's right.
I think we are sharing technologies in exchange for some things that I don't like to totally bring up. And I'll stay away from it, but it has to do with certain satanic offerings and so forth that seem to surround this element. I think Charlie Ward today or the day before was on, they were just talking similarities of some of this stuff. A lot of people know who Charlie is, of part of what this whole battle of monotony is right now going on. But I will say this: I think this all reflects back to ancient bloodlines, them
Hi,
being
Ernie.
a party of it or a party to it.
All right. Well, I'm right there with you. I'll try to rattle it out as quick as I can. I think that the reason that extraterrestrials, aliens are demonized in mainstream entertainment, you always see them coming from the sky to blow us up and to beam us up and do terrible things to us. It's because that extraterrestrials, aliens have always been here and they're amongst us right now. And the only difference is that the evil, malevolent ones that you would fear the way that it's depicted in movies is because they're the ones who are here now in our secret societies. I believe in the old ancient secret societies and the bloodlines. I absolutely would, without a shadow of a doubt, believe in the reptilian extraterrestrials. I do think that they are behind a lot of our secret societies. I know they live in tunnel systems and military bases. I also know that not only are there shape-shifting reptilians, but there's actually reptilians that know how to move their consciousness into human vessels and can puppeteer them like avatars, and that they have their own bodies that they can jump back and forth in between. And these particular reptilian race, I know all about them. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say on the air, but they work in clan types. There are 3 different clans that they call themselves: the Vlash, the Vril, and the Vlad.
And one of them's brown. Actually, there is a way to correlate what they are by the information that was just shared
Yes.
there.
They have also, so those are clan names, but they have species names. Kingu is one of them. Draco is one of them. And there are a couple more. We have, not only do we have the malevolent, scary reptilians that you hear about, or maybe you've seen in the movies, but there's also peaceful ones. There's also non-violent, non-threatening reptilians. They live on planet Earth as well in tunnel systems that are completely harmless, but they look like lizard people. And they're oftentimes victim and the same type of like slave hierarchy that, people think humans are to the reptilians. So I do believe they exist. I do believe that they're behind all of our leadership and our governments and our cabals and our controllers. And I also don't like to give them any more power than they think they have by,
Right.
calling them our leaders or anything like that. But I do think that they are the reason why we have so much oppression and challenges and limitations on planet Earth, and why we're not interstellar, and why our consciousness is limited. And I also think that we are as powerful as they are.
Yeah, I would agree. And I'm not trying to step on your toes, Shawn, but just
No, I don't care.
thought of
I'm enjoying this.
well, I'm glad. That's why we're here. We're all supposed to have fun together, though. So when you look at the big picture, we even have ancient civilizations, and I think it was the Dargon people that in their pottery work, all represented this.
That's right.
Whatever you looked at that they were making, all had focus to these reptilians,
Right.
and so forth. And you can see it; it's all depicted in their work. But furthermore than that, I think there's enough papers and enough information out there, and from whistleblowers, that we can honestly say there's something here. I personally would never want to overstep the boundary of how the possibility of how infiltrated Earth is when we look at the underwater submersibles. I mean, if you look at the Baltic Sea anomaly, that's a spacecraft. Come on, it's a spacecraft sitting.
I've heard there's entire civilizations underneath the ocean.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, I have no doubt.
it's ground zero for things, and there's many military documentations
That's right.
that back up things. But again, we're in this part of where we're probably dripping more when we do shows like this than the government ever would. Although the Pentagon put out the Nimitz and some things like that, and you have ATIP and other programs throughout the countries. But like I said, every country is involved in some way with alien.
Yes.
Alien. More
It's
than
common.
cryptid, but it's alien.
Mhm.
Although I think the theory behind a lot of this stuff, the creation of super soldiers, vaccinations, the $6 million man theory, the fact that there are different types of cryptids, there's a whole story there, but we just don't know how to get to the bottom, to uncover, to peel the fabrics away. And it leaves us a little bit lost. But I think you're showing great validation of who you are and what you've researched, because
Yeah.
look, man, I'm an old guy. You're a young kid. I'm 64. And
60.
Yeah, right. And we know.
we got Daniel, we got guys like you, your age, that can really start opening up more about this.
Yes.
On this platform here, you can say whatever you want. You also
awesome.
have to. You also we're on Roku too. So
Awesome. I have Roku. I got Roku in my living room, my bedroom.
there you go.
I could
But
pull you up.
another question, and I talked to Mike about this a couple of days ago, and I saw it on TikTok. They had a picture of behind the head of Joe Biden, right?
Yeah.
And you could actually see there was a mask there.
Right.
Okay. Now, is it Obama and Hayden, or
Could you imagine?
is it? Could it be an alien? That's actually, because if you really look at Biden when he does his lecture, one day he looks like
Different people.
Walter. He looks like Walter on Jeff Dunham, and then the
Yep.
next day he doesn't. So
I know
is
that he's
possible.
cloned multiple times. Another type of technology that people know nothing about, that's 100 years beyond our civilian awareness, is cloning.
Yeah.
I know all about cloning facilities. I know all about how cloning works and who they do it to and why it's done.
Cryogenics.
All of it. And
All
I
of it.
think that he's cloned multiple times. I think the real one probably doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
So I have seen the mask videos, and I think that he's got stand-ins all the time to appear that aren't really him. Like I said, I don't think that the real one. I think the real one's probably been gone for who knows what, 15 years.
Yeah.
If you look at the old interviews of Biden and how he looks and how he sounds, not like from like the 70s or 80s, but like even more recently, even say, let's just go to the 90s to what we have now. It's not the same person.
Watch it. Watch which hand signs the papers.
Yeah,
Watch
you
which
said
hand
that.
holds the ice cream.
You said that because, and I was trying to understand.
Two different
what you-
people.
Yeah.
At least.
Or 10
But
different people.
But we could verify when you see an action like that, there's at least two.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to create a problem or a shitstorm. I'm just speaking the truth.
Listen, guys, when it comes to our leadership, every politician, these aren't even real. These are puppets to puppet masters that run much deeper in power and importance than these actors that sit in front of the camera to feed us a stage play to keep everybody in fear, distracted, frustrated, angry, at war with each other. These are actors.
Yeah, and I would agree to that. And here I am tramping on Shawn again. I apologize, bro. Um,
I knew you because I knew you had to get this out, brother. You were
these
itching.
people could never come up with what we're living in.
Right.
Man could not have thought of every diversion that has been created to do this. But with that comes the what if. What if
Right.
they're all doing this because of another reason? Because it's something that not everybody's looking at. I shared this with Shawn. I talked about it a little bit, but I am going to do a more formal type of presentation. What if this is all about something else and it's all been created because the possibility of Planet X coming back in and destroying the Earth again is a high probability? Or the fact that aliens of unknown are coming here. We know that radio signals have been received. Linda Bolton Howe even did stories on them of fragments and numbers, how they blended. What is the Vatican doing with a telescope that was more powerful for years than what even NASA owned? When we get into the dialect of it, and why would the Pope want to baptize alien and represent them as our ancestors?
Right.
We are looking at the possibility, is all I'm saying, of stop mass disruption and fear. Because if they were to do something else and not stop us from looking at the sky, maybe something else is coming.
That could be.
And that's why they created the nanoparticle cloaking system. It works as a weapon. It works as a sun blocking agent, but it also works as an antenna. And we know once something breaks the antenna with amount of speed or a difference in temperature that doesn't make sense, that anything that we in the military have, or that possibly we have that's outsourced through different corporate companies who develop these things under reverse engineering, if we can't factually, then we know that we have a disruption and we know that something else is in the atmosphere. Could this all be focusing in a way? Let's not cause mass hysteria. Let's not tell them the truth. If we keep them so far focused down and with other narratives, they're never going to look up.
Yeah. All I know is that when the three of us hook up somewhere, I'm just going to bring my chair. I'm going to bring 2 things of pure leaf, no sugar iced tea, sit down and listen to you guys and take notes. This is like totally fascinating to me.
Right on.
It should be fascinating to the world, Shawn. I mean, really, we're reaching out to a great audience. But
the question be with the people out in the world, there's that, and I think we talked about this, there's part of the world or people in the whole world that don't even want to deal with this because
you're right.
They don't want to deal with it. They don't care if it's an alien or a UFO. They don't care. But there's other people, and from experience, no matter like being a ghost investigator, and you want to show that perfect image of a ghost to somebody who don't care, they're just going to rip you apart. Do you know what I mean? So what do? What do we do? We can talk until we're blue in the face, but what can we do?
Well, we do know that there are sophisticated technology now in cameras. Another thing I talked about was what South Korea did, and they sent a unit up there to the moon. It's called the polarized camera. And somehow with the technology, they could send signal for it to change different values of the magnifications, as well as create different shadowing contents of how it worked. And we now know that they're glass domes and runes on the moon. They're not talking about it, but they are talking about it.
Oh, yeah. We're stationed on the moon big time. There's bases and everything.
Yes, there's things there, but and I think South Korea was one of the them going up to do that was the best way to drip out the information, because we're always doing something before they ever admit that we're doing something.
Yes.
Even under JFK, he in his life, now he was killed in, I think, 1963. In 61, he said, "We will control weather." It
We
was
do now.
exactly.
We probably
Exactly.
have for 30 years, 60
I believe
years.
that
Yes.
wholeheartedly.
Yes.
You know, and there's a lot of implications with weather modification, weather control, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
Well, look at what happened down in East Palestine when that train derailed, right?
Yeah,
All
that's
the chemi-
that's fucking an hour and 15 minutes from us.
right. Now, all those chemicals spilled, and then the very next day,
Another one.
One hellacious windstorm coming
Yeah.
through Pittsburgh, and I'm thinking, what are you trying to do? Kill us? And I
Yes.
knew it wasn't an act of God on that wind. Okay, I knew it wasn't because
No,
I felt this like
coincidental.
speed of the
No.
wind, right? And then I look at my phone for the weather. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And there's nowhere near to the speed of the wind that was coming through.
There's been 8 more chemical spills just like it since then.
Yeah. There's been plenty. So here's one of my thoughts. Who controlled this? They tried to blame this implosion on their chief fire marshal. Untrue. We know that because he met with Trump, but that's where they tried to put the narrative. We know FEMA still says it's not a matter of urgency. We know they say the water's good, but yet we're seeing people still being harmed. And I know people in Pittsburgh and above Pittsburgh who are loading trucks, taking them down weekly because nobody's helping these people.
Right.
I mean, it's shameful. But one of the things we might want to look at here, if we are in fact in some type of simulation to keep us busy, the possibility is maybe, just maybe, this was all of course it's pre-planned. Too much at one time.
The answer is yes.
All by one railroad company.
Orchestrated attack.
Why did Norfolk not get shut down? Why did they not get shut down? If it was any other circumstances, any other time, boom, it would have been done, hands on.
Because it was a bioweapon attack on American citizens.
I believe that the same as I do about when I said it the day after the first issue from the WHO, the whatever you want to call them. And we know about that too. I mean, Obama was notified before they even handle these bacterias that, you got to stop Fauci. We know that information's out there, and he did, and they handed it over to them, and they plotted, and they affected, and they stopped the integrity of certain things that the country wanted to see stay the way it was because people felt safe and America was thriving. So you look at all these things, and it scares the hell out of the people. That's the big fear. And as long as they can make you fear, they can take your what's left, if it even is left, because it's more of a corporate America owned by, London,
secret societies.
Exactly. I mean, that's who runs the United States of America. You all caught when they all kneeled.
Yeah.
You all caught who they kneeled to when they went to George Floyd's thing. They all had a blue and yellow scarf on.
Right.
They kneeled to Kazarian Mafia. I mean, that's what they did. Who was part of that 150 rich of the world?
And these secret societies, they go deep behind the scenes, and it's so funny because you look at like Bill Gates, and you look at like all of Klaus Schwab, all of like our public. These are our celebrity villains, but they have puppet masters that you'll never know the names of them. You'll never know where they operate from, where they exist, how deep their military bases are. But there's entire societies and civilizations is a better term, underground in tunnel systems that control the surface level.
We have 5 minutes left in the show. I know this is only an hour.
That was an hour?
That was an hour.
Oh, that went fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, I can go over about a couple minutes. But any last
no, we can't help ourselves.
No, I'm talking I my friend Trish, she got her show coming up.
No,
soon.
I know. All respect, all respect. We
All
want her
good.
to have a great show. Hopefully, we'll
Hey,
say.
Virgil Kane says, "Hey guys, you are amazing. Thank you,
Hey, Virgil.
Virgil."
Hey,
And he's
Virgil,
from
thank you,
Manchester,
brother, man.
England.
Please try
Right
to
on.
like and share us out too when you see us on. We're on every Tuesday night. We come on at 7:10 and 9 o'clock. A back-to-back show of this kind of content and more. And it's right in the title. It's right in the opening. It's right in the monologue of everything. And this young man's going to help Shawn do and recreate something better. That's
Yes.
fascinating. Thank you for
And
doing
I will
that.
call you in 7 days. But I want to thank Daniel
Yes.
for being on. I want to thank Michael for helping me out tonight. You know, and as I say this at every ending of my show, children, please go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them, because those 3 words, I love you, go far a long, long way. And
That's right.
we'll see you next week. And you know what? Have a good week. Good night.
All right, brother. Good
Keep
night,
talking while I find the ending.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yay.
Oh.
Hey, pleasure meeting you, sir. Pleasure meeting you. Thanks.